We've got a lot to get into, Shannon. You went to one tribal council, but you filled your days. So I want to start with where it all ended because there's a lot of emotions I'm sure that you were feeling. I'm sure there are a lot of emotions that were being felt towards you, as we saw in the reaction to your exit. So sort of like walk me through your headspace. Was this a huge, shocking outcome to you? What was sort of your reaction as you're getting obviously these very mixed receptions on your way out?
Yeah, yeah. So are you talking about in the game specifically or right now?
In the game specifically.
In the game specifically, I was shocked. I was completely shocked. I was just joking that my shot in the dark might have been like left at the beach behind or in my shoe somewhere. I felt so solid, and that just speaks to how well Sage, Juwan, and Steven, but specifically Sage and Steven, they had me feeling so confident and comfortable.
Yeah. So then obviously you're going around, you're giving hugs and look, we're going to be talking about a lot of Sage, obviously, given how much your
Yeah.
narrative was tied into each other. What was your reaction? Because in the moment, when we see her offer the handshake and give this reasoning, you're sort of like, yep, okay, it's all good. Love you too. And then you sort of make your way to it. Were you sort of digesting that reaction in the moment? Because I'm sure we'll get into it that all of this, her perspective on you, is coming as a surprise.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's not coming as a full surprise now because Sage and I have talked a ton. So like I knew what was coming. To watch it back, you can kind of like relive the experience. And in that moment, like I said, I was fully shocked, fully shocked. And I was just talking about how in that moment, there's almost the fan in you who's like, this is sick. Like, this is epic. And it's like almost odd to say that to get blindsided is like Survivor bucket list, but like not everyone gets to experience that? And even for me, and you know me with this perspective, it's like, what an opportunity to like, how are you gonna handle that? Like in the moment. And you can see it on my face that I'm devastated, right? But then I come back to who I am, and it was funny to me to watch me get blindsided, right? Like Sage got like you won, like it's over. Like I'm not trying to play the game anymore. It was just funny to see, and I look forward to talking to her about this because I'm curious what she was feeling. Like I'm out, and like I get up and like I hug people because that's who I am and what I wanted to come back to. And to see like even that was still like bothering her, that's interesting. And it kind of just showed how the stress of the game, is very real. And so although it can be painful, because like I love Sage. I love Sage. I love Sage in the game. I love Sage out of the game. Like Sage is one of my closest friends from the cast. And so to kind of go back to that and like to see how she felt, it's obviously painful, but I just have so much compassion for anyone who plays the game because it's so stressful out there and that gets to you. So to go back to your question there about the moment of the handshake, I am just doing my best to stay composed and kind and go out in a way that feels true to myself. That when she offers the handshake, I'm like, whoa, it's like computing. It's like, what is going on now? Like blindside into no hug, like what is happening? And so I was just doing my best to just continue to be kind and loving to her because I
Well,
love her.
you talk about, channeling yourself in your game. And I think we certainly, even getting the chance to talk with you, it's not like you were necessarily putting up a 100% front. But,
Right,
we
right.
we did hear some comments about the fact that, it feels like you were steering into, finding one thing about somebody and then harping
Right.
into that. Obviously, there is all the talk about, being quote unquote performative with some of your
Mhm.
spiritual elements out there. What
Right.
is your reaction to that? From your perspective, was there a game component to playing that
Yeah.
stuff up, or was that truly just who you are, who you were in the moment?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I love talking to you. For me, I saw this post, right, that CBS did, and it was like sincere or strategy, right? And for me, being sincere was the strategy where from like how we talked, like God's my favorite topic. God's gonna continue to be my favorite topic. And for me, I knew I wanted to lean on my social skills and my social ability to connect with people. One, because I was hoping that would give me an opportunity to work with different people when I needed to, but two, it was just my favorite way to spend time out there too. You know, we can only talk so much about your favorite junk food and like TV show to watch. So like for me, like actually using this time to get to know people, to talk about Christina's Irish twins and her mom, or Steven in space and his girlfriend Kelsey, or Savannah's boyfriend, or Nate's daughters, or Rizzo's relationship with his brother, you know, Jawan's grandmother just passed in the past year. So like those conversations, it was you're playing the game, right? And I remember listening to Rachel talk about how like doesn't matter like what's happening in the game, like it's game, right? And I
Hmm.
forget exactly what moment she was talking about. She was talking about like a sincere moment that was happening there. Maybe it was like Eva and Joe or something. But she was talking about how like everything's game. And so I have a lot of compassion for the fact that people are like, she's being performative, or you know, it's not authentic, because it's the lens of a game of Survivor where everything's the game, you know? And for me, what mattered, and let me know if I'm rambling at all,
No, go.
but for me, what matters to me is that I was authentic to myself. And anyone who knows me, you know, my family, anyone who looks at my content, anyone who looks at the things that I talk about, like this is who I am. And so for me, and again, you know how I like to see things, it was just a great test of like, I was misunderstood by people on the cast. I'm misunderstood by people online, but I know myself. I know myself and I love myself. And so I have had, again, just go a little bit deeper, I have had a lot of like people pleasing tendencies
Hmm.
in the past that come from high school and come from childhood. And so, you know, they talk about how you have to get your $1 million a different way if you don't win. And moving through this process of being targeted by Sage and having her say negative things about me, or having people on the internet dislike me, right? Just this opportunity to let go of this need to have everybody like me, to have everybody to like me. And you know, and that's just such a wonderful thing to get out of this experience, just like a new level of confidence and like authenticity that I think you can only get by going through an experience like I have just gone through.
Well, we need to get back to the sage of it all because, it takes place in a couple of different ways. She is
Yeah.
talking about the fact that you are sort of like treating her like this wounded puppy of someone who's not, doesn't really strategize. And then, of course, if you talk about authenticity, we have these moments of you hugging her or making these air kisses, then her sort of rolling her eyes behind your
Yeah.
back. I mean, what was sort of your sense of your relationship out there? Did you get any sort of sniff that she was feeling any of these ways while you were spending so much time together on the island?
So me and Sage, I felt so close to her because I almost felt like we had this sister relationship, or we had other dynamics where like, because she spent the whole game with me, all
Yeah.
three tribes. We did the math last night, my boyfriend and I. There's like a 3% chance of me ending up on every single tribe with Sage, you know? And again, you know how I think. I saw that as really special and significant. And there's some things that happened pregame as well where I just felt like this girl's gonna serve an important role for me in the game. And so my heart felt so connected to her, but just naturally in the beginning of the game, the strategy just moved in such a different way for me, where it made more sense to work with Savannah and Nate and Rizzo. And then the tribe swap came, and it became more about self-preservation in that moment. And I I now recognize that Sage definitely caught on to the fact that us four were so close. And I think a part of me knew that she felt on the bottom of Uli, and probably what's the word I'm looking for here? Probably didn't she could probably I knew she probably could tell that I was really close with them four over at Uli, but definitely not to the extent that it was, you know, and that just speaks to how smart Sage is and how aware she is. You know, she has military background and
Yeah.
is a psychologist, so her ability to read people is really, really incredible. And I was playing a game where I was doing my best to maintain relationships with people no matter the situation. And it's interesting because it's almost like not going to tribal council can cause it almost makes it harder in a certain way because you don't have that opportunity to build trust with
Mhm.
somebody. And I was hoping that I was going to be able to build that trust with Sage in that moment. And it was just too late at that point, and I understand that.
So you had rolled over and told Stephen at one point at the crack of dawn this idea of a
Yeah.
cross-tribal alliance of two, two, and two. Just
Yeah.
briefly talk with me about what your thoughts were about that two, 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 and had you made it to the merge, had you survived this vote, was that
Yeah.
something you were sticking to, or were you going Uli strong to the end?
Yeah, so I was definitely very aware that if I made it to the merge, I was going to be in a complex situation because, like I said, I didn't go into this game to play like dead fish, just bring me along. Like I had to give it my all. I was like, I'm gonna give it my all, and if it works, it works, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And so, if I were to make it into the merge, part of the reason why I wanted to get Juwan out was to maintain a certain aspect of loyalty to that six-person alliance. I wanted to bring in Rizzo, so obviously it wasn't formed with Rizzo and it wasn't formed with Blue Sophie. But we did come together, me, Christina, Steven, Alex, and we called it the Family Alliance, you know? And we joked, oh yeah, we're gonna call it Family Time, right? Like I thought it was such a good idea. And so I wanted to maintain a certain level of allegiance to that group, but my goal was to get back to the Uli Four. But I was also aware that Rizzo and Savannah and Blue Sophie had just spent a lot of time together too, so I knew it was going to be important for me to have options moving forward as well. And my goal was to honestly lock it in with Sage and then kind of play both sides from there. But I knew that it was going to be a little tricky just because I felt like I had to play so hard with all the different tribe swaps and different dynamics and also managing the social connections that I already had from earlier in the game too, which kind of put me at a disadvantage going into that tribe swap where Sage felt like she was at the bottom, so she could be like, Rizzo has the idol, where I was trying to make new relationships while also like honor the relationships I already had. So it got tricky.
Well, the last thing I want to ask is, of course, I
Yeah.
said this out on the island. I'll still say it. You have perhaps the most unique preseason prep process I've heard for any Survivor player between talking with Boston Rob and Amber, between, of
Yeah.
course, the AI, Jesus, Ram Dass
Yeah.
of it all. I mean,
Yeah.
when it came to actually being out there, though, when push came to shove, how much did that advice help you? Or was it more so, okay, no matter what I received ahead of time, all that mattered is what I was thinking during my 12 days in the game?
Yeah. No, again, great question. I feel like the preparation I had before the game kind of speaks to the two components that were really important to me. That
Hmm.
part of being sincere and loving people and caring about people. And, you know, I think that even speaks to just the conversations I had with people I wasn't even necessarily fully trying to work with as well. You know, I just loved to talk to people about their life. You know, you have something that isn't depicted because you can't is just how much time you have out there, right? And so there was this one element of my game that was about being sincere and being an emotionally safe space for people to navigate the more difficult aspects of the game because this game is a game, but it's also a deep emotional, psychological, physical experience. And so being there for Christina in that moment, you know, I remember crying in my one-on-one interviews about like I feel like this is why I'm actually here to like
Mhm.
to help people navigate the different emotions of it. But then you have the other side of me too that is like the Boston competitive like I'm gonna give this my all. And I think that's what is portrayed as one, like I was gonna play hard and I was gonna give it my all and I was gonna play hard because I would rather go home for playing hard and trying everything I had versus just going home after being strung along or whatever. And so I think my preparation with like my emotional, my connection to Jesus, my faith, my spirituality, um, added to my social game, but then you also have like the Boston Rob advice of like make sure you have like two number ones, right? So it was like I really gave it my all strategically and really tried to control the game the best I could. And then I also genuinely wanted to be an emotional, safe space for people out there as well and just really care about them on a human level because I do and I always will. Like I love these people.
Well, I'm so excited we always get the chance to chat because again, you are such an open book about your beliefs, your methodologies, your thinkings, etc. And it's something I greatly appreciate, and it's something a lot of other people do as well. Obviously, to, have this culminate in $1 million would have been the best thing, but it does seem like even in that moment, you were walking out with sort of a sense of calm and peace that you would
Mm.
sort of walked your own journey. And obviously the journey is far from over in general. But thank you for sharing so much of your journey with me today. And again, always love getting the chance to talk with you, Shannon.
Thank you so much. And you are just such a fantastic interviewer. And I think part of the reason why I know a huge reason why my first pregame interview, the reason why you were able to capture my excitement, like you were able to pull as much out of me as you did, is because of the safety that you make people feel and just like your genuine interest in questions. So I look forward to talking to you again in the future when our paths cross. So thank you.
When not if. Thank you so much. That really means the world to me. Well, I wish you and yours nothing but the best. Please give your family the best as well with
Thank
their cafe and the like.
Yes.
But thank you so
Yes.
much again, Shannon. You have a good one.
Yeah, you have a good one too. Thank you, Mike.
Bye.